You ready?
Yeah, I'm
ready. 3, 2, 1, boost mode.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Everyday Reviews. We're here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Look at this weather, the background. It's so nice. And what's nice is what we have behind me. You know, if you watch some of my reviews, one of my favorite compact luxury SUVs has got to be the Genesis GV70. I've been waiting for this one for so long. This is the Electrified GV70. Okay, in Canada, we only get one trim model, and that is everything except the kitchen sink. It's the Prestige model. In the US, you get the choice of 2. Canada also gets 8 different color options. This is the matte paint. Looks familiar, right? Just like our Ioniq 5. Now, this is a part that I think that looks like money. So, you know, Genesis has that Crest Grille, the G-Matrix design. Well, they made a reverse G-Matrix design. Of course, this does not need a grille, so it's solid here, but there's more to it there. Right here, there's a little section here. We open that up. That is where the charging is at. That's really nice for, depending on where you're charging. Sometimes, you know, you don't have a long cable. That's gonna be really nice for you. We'll talk about charging in a little bit. So this front end, I just think it just looks so premium looking. You have the signature 2-line LEDs for the front, also for the rear, and exclusive to the GV70 electric, or what they call electrified GV70. You get these 20-inch wheels with these white Genesis calipers. And you know, I'm a fan of nice wheels, and I'm willing to take the penalty for range by not having an aero wheel. I'm not sure if these are aero wheels or not, but I'm glad Genesis went to this decision and put these wheels on here. Coming back, we have this sweeping parabolic shape, just like the regular GV70. Now, there's nothing on this car that says, hey, look at me, I'm electric. No, that's the nice part. I like that. If you want something that's gonna really make a statement, they have the GV60 for that. This is someone that wants everything they enjoy in the GV70 for the experience, but just an electrified version. Now, let's head over to the back. Onto the back, you have that twin light design. They're LEDs, by the way. You have that rear wiper to open up the back. Kind of like the Macan, you have that power lift gate. This has the hands-free. You have a smart lift gate for that. Now in the back, because this is an SUV, they could actually raise up the floor a little bit. So you really don't have much of a compromise between this electrified version and the gas version. So decent amount of room. We can fold the seats down to have a nice flat level here. But here's something that's interesting. Right behind here, this is equipped with V2L. If you're familiar with the Hyundai products, that's vehicle to load. We have that in our Ioniq, which means we can use this vehicle as a generator. Yeah, so you want to go tailgating, you lose the power in your house, plug in your fridge, you know, your hair dryer, all from right there, really handy. You can go all the way down to 20%. You set that in the system there, V2L with this. It also has, there's an outlet there, or underneath, they have a V2L adapter. So this adapter here, you would plug in to the front of your vehicle. So if you want to have, you know, someone's inside, maybe you have a baby sleeping or something, you want to have this open up, you can close this and plug this into the charge port and get your power that way as well. Nice option. Now, here comes one of my favorite parts of this vehicle. First of all, you do have a lock button here, but have a look at the back end. This might just be me, but one thing that I criticized the GV70 design for on the gas version is on their version, they have this kind of matte plastic, you know, kind of crisscross design on the rear bumper. This is not there. It's so much cleaner looking. And I said, if I was ever gonna buy a GV70, the gas version, I would get rid of that. I'd put something else out there. Yeah, this looks like the whole package to me. So let's take a look inside. On the inside, what we have come to expect from the GV70. Remember, in Canada, we only get the top Prestige, so you get all the bells and whistles. Beautiful Napa leather. One thing that I've mentioned in other Genesis videos, man, the leather they use, this is Napa leather, by the way, on the steering wheel. All the touch points are so refined. You also get a 12.3-inch instrument cluster. It has that 3D feature. You can select that if you want. It's really hard to show that on camera. We also get a head-up display. Standard 14.5-inch infotainment. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. However, they are not wireless, unfortunately. We got wireless charging though. Down below, we have the whole theme is like it's an aeronautic theme. You can see it's like shaped like a wing. We also have ambient lighting. I'm a big fan of that. Tri-zone climate control here. Now, we were driving this earlier and it's getting fairly hot here. These heated seats, try those out, but the ventilation works extremely well. Perfect if you're in a hotter climate. Unlike the GV60, you do get a standard drive-by-wire gear selector, so you don't get that crystal. Some people didn't like that, so hey, if you want a more traditional type of shifter, you do have that rotating selector, and you do get the volume knob, which I like. Power seats come standard, driver and passenger as well. You do have the fingerprint profile recognition too, so you can just put your finger on it, it will know who's driving and adjust the profile for you. Also standard full-length panoramic roof. As I said, you really have to go into a vehicle much more expensive to get into an interior that looks, feels like this Genesis. Let's have a look in the back. Even though this doesn't have soft closed doors, when you close these doors on the GV70, regardless if it's electric or gas only, you know what? It has a nice solid feel to it for sure. Standard on the Prestige, you do get the manual sunshades. That is also very handy if you have kids or you just don't want to be just shot with all that sunlight. Now, look at this interior. This color is glacier white. This is exclusive to the Electrified GV70 only, and I love the contrast. So it has this copper contrast color in it. It's quilted. We have heated seats in the rear. Here, it's very, very comfortable. Now, also, I like that you can recline this rear seat to your liking. And it goes all the way back here. I might be even out of the frame here. So it goes all the way back. This is about right there. They do not slide forward and backward, but that recline is nice. We have an ample amount of knee room. What I like is the amount of height you have for your feet back here is nice. So remember, this is a compact luxury crossover. One thing to note that since this is not built on the eGMP platform, you do see there is a driveline hump. It's not a big one, but just be aware of that. Drink holder, just everything just feels really good. I am a huge fan of the Genesis interiors. If you have not sat or driven a Genesis, do yourself a favor, try it out. And I think you'll agree with me. It's pretty hard to beat this interior in this class and price of vehicle. Time for a drive, and we have a special guest. Check it out. Ready? Boost mode. Oh, got a chirp. Oh, everything's tightened up. Okay, everybody, we are inside the Electrified GV70 driving this right now. We have a special guest in the passenger seat. He's a little bit of automotive royalty.
Come on.
Okay, if you know this little magazine called Car and Driver, well, you may actually see Sammy's pieces in there. Yeah, that's right. Car and Driver right beside us right now. So welcome, Sammy.
You're making me blush. Thank you for having me, Brian. I am so happy to be on the channel. And honestly, driving one of the coolest electric cars this year so far.
Absolutely. You know, we talked about the exterior and interior. Well, how's this drive? Because I was always a fan of the drive of the regular gas version of the GV70. And this is a big difference driving this. First of all, before we even get to the horsepower, just the refinement itself, being electrified, it's like we've been over a lot of rough pavement here in Atlanta. The roads are beautiful, by the way, here, and it is so silent. It's so smooth, the drive, even on that rough stuff. It really isolates you from everything. We do have the road preview with the electronic suspension, and that probably has something to do with it as well. We get to the power, though, that you saw with boost mode. So this has a similar boost mode, or the same one as you get in the GV60. So we have two motors, equal size motors, 160 kilowatts, 320 kilowatts in total. 429 horses. If you get that boost mode, you go 489 horses, I believe, and 516 pound-feet of torque regardless. 0 to 60, it's unofficial, but let's just say this is the quickest GV70 that they produce and the most power. And when you're just, we're going on these nice winding roads right now, doesn't matter if you're in boost mode or not, this thing has so much get up and go, and it's nice how the power is delivered. It's not just boom, just suck you right back and slam your head back. It's luxury power, yet it's there whenever you want it. And that boost button, it's fun. It's like you're playing a video game.
Yeah.
Right? It's like turbo mode. Just hit that boost and boom, there you go.
It's like when you hit NOS and Need for Speed. It's just like takes off now.
Yeah. Now all the Electrified GV70s come standard. We only get that one trim level in Canada, but they all come standard with the all-wheel drive system. All right, so we do have a drive mode selector. We can go into eco. Nah, not gonna happen. All right, normal, comfort. I mean, we go sport, and we have a custom mode. When we go into sport mode, remember they're all-wheel drive, but it's normally a rear bias system. In sport mode, it's definitely more 50-50 for sure, giving you maximum traction for cornering. Yeah, so far, so good, absolutely. What do you think of this vehicle so far, Sammy?
I'm pretty impressed, and I don't think that's a rare thing for the GV70. It's won a ton of awards since it debuted, and the electrified version actually picks up on that, on the standard that the normal gas model set. I think that's really impressive. To have a vehicle that's been out for a few years and still is able to impress us just by changing the powertrain to this all-electric setup.
Well, we tested the electrified G80. Man, I don't know anyone that has had a bad word to say about that vehicle. Loved it. I like what Genesis is doing, even on the non-dedicated EV platform.
Yeah.
They're doing such a good job. Now, they told us that this GV70 platform, even when they designed it, it was designed to actually be electrified as well.
Okay.
So it's not like it's just like a total just like a retrofit or something like that. So they did have that in mind when designing this. Now, range-wise, well, we have in Canada, we have a little bit different range here. What's a range on this?
383 kilometers.
383 kilometers. And miles, the U.S. range,
It's
EPA,
236.
236.
Yeah.
It's in line with what you would expect, for the GV60,
Yeah.
for instance. And yeah, is it enough? For some people, maybe not. If you are driving longer distances or if you live in the northern climates, that is definitely going to get reduced quite a bit.
Yep.
But I think that what Genesis is doing, just for the fact that we're talking about this, that this has the 20-inch wheels.
Yes.
And they're nice looking wheels. They're not those, moon disc aero wheels. They're decent looking wheels, and they could have gotten better range by going to a smaller wheel size, but they're not compromising on the experience, the entire, Genesis experience of the look, of course the handling. But yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it. And this is a performance vehicle. So if you were driving a performance sports car, you're not going to get the best fuel economy either. So that applies to electric vehicles as well. If you want to regen some power, you can use the paddles here. You have different modes. You can adjust to different levels, and you have iPedal too, intelligent pedal. And with that, you can do one pedal driving. I'm not a big fan of that. Are you?
No, not really. I think, it's good to have two different pedals and inputs for different functions of the vehicle. We don't want one thing to do it all, right?
No. Yeah, but some people do like it. It's up to you if you like it or not. But I choose to have that off. But I like to have it on basically a auto mode. So it knows that when you're coming up to another vehicle like we are right now, I have my foot off the accelerator, and it's automatically braking for me right now. And of course, I will have to step on the brake when we get there. In iPedal, you wouldn't have to.
You were talking about the range and how that might be a limiting factor for some people, but one thing that Genesis really delivers is charge rates. This thing can charge so quickly. It manages to get, if you pair it to a DC fast charger, you can get 100 kilometers in 5 minutes?
Yeah. So
that's insane.
That's 60 miles for our friends in the south. 5 minutes. Now, keep in mind though, that is under the best circumstances. You have to have the fastest charger, like a 350 kilowatt charger, and it depends on the ambient temperature outside. This does have battery conditioning though, so what happens is if you were going on a longer trip, you would program where that DC fast charger is, and before you get there, it's going to start the preconditioning so your battery is at optimal temperature to accept that charge as quick as possible. Be aware though, when you precondition your batteries in EVs, doesn't matter which EV it is, you are using a lot of electricity, depending on also
To warm up,
yeah, to warm it up. And where that problem is that sometimes if you get to where you're going or where that charger, if that charger is out of service or it's busy, you know, and you're just gonna go for level 2 instead, for instance, you've kind of wasted energy.
And that's a common problem, to find a charger that isn't working and no app or infotainment system is telling you that. You just expect it to be working, and suddenly you've wasted some energy there. That's really unfortunate. But I think it's a problem that can be said for almost any EV. It's not specific to the GV70, right?
Yep, absolutely. But if you have a little bit more time than 5 minutes, you can go from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes for that. That's really, really quick as well. Personally, I own an EV and I charge at home level 2. Level 2, you can get this charge in like 7 hours or so. That's really
overnight.
decent. Overnight, yeah, that's fine. You charge it in, plug it in like you plug your phone in. It has a 77.4 kilowatt hour
Or during
battery.
a work day, yeah.
During your work day.
Something like that.
Look at this guy's right on our tail. Guess what? No problem. Boost mode. Bye-bye. Woohoo! Okay, yeah. That could be fun, but could also get you in a little bit of trouble, I think. This Electrified GV70 has all the bells and whistles when it comes to safety and driving assistance. This has, what's it called? The Highway Driving Assistant Generation 2.
Yes, that's right. And that includes a bunch of, the usual stuff, like lane keeping and adaptive cruise control.
Stop and go.
Yeah, but they've upgraded it in a couple of different ways. It has like an automatic lane changing system. So if you're on the highway and you want to make a lane change, you just hit the signal, and it determines whether or not, when to pull out and pass somebody, which I think that's next level. Like, that really is impressive.
They've also added in a feature where it's going to detect if you have an adjacent vehicle getting too close to you as well. So if you're driving and someone's just driving a little too close to the side of your vehicle, it might take action on that.
And I've been on the highway so many times, and you see like those 18-wheelers getting a little too close to you on a windy day or something. So that's cool, actually. That's really, it's smart technology that can help make you feel a little bit more comfortable on the road.
So now let's talk about price, because everybody wants to know about price.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned in Canada, we only have one trim level, and that is the Prestige. That is the top of the line. In the US, you do get the Prestige, but you do get the option with a lower package. That lower package is still very well equipped, by the way.
Yeah.
But in Canada, our Prestige goes for, drum roll,
$84,000.
84,000 bones.
That's actually really not that bad.
Well, you have to remember, and this is different depending on what market you are in. In Canada, we have, it's all in pricing for Genesis.
Right.
Okay, so there's no haggling. You can go online, you can build your Genesis, you can go pick it up. It's going to be exactly that price. That's including destination fees, everything. The only thing that they don't include are taxes, because that's going to vary depending on where you are in the country, but that's everything. Plus, we get in Canada what's called Genesis at Home. And so I just call it like, the fives, because you get 5 years comprehensive warranty.
Yep.
You get 5 years scheduled maintenance. And the maintenance is valet service. So they'll come and grab your car, and they will leave you a loaner if necessary. You get 5 years of that. You get 5 years of connected services. So all your services are all included for 5 years. So it really is, it's not that bad for 5 years of ownership of a vehicle.
I love that. I think you're seeing the experience, the customer experience, taking a huge level up when Genesis is including all of these features for 5 years complimentary. I think that makes a lot of sense. When you get a luxury car, you want to feel like you got something special, and you don't want to be paying a bunch of extra fees each month or each year you've got the car. So I think having that all in makes a big impact.
Well, and when you talk about experience, it's even the experience of purchasing the vehicle. Some people are really reluctant to go into a car dealership. They don't like the pressure, that they get sometimes, or can I get it for a better price? Guess what? It doesn't matter. Even if you work for Genesis, that is the price that you're going to pay. It's 84 grand right there. It's not going to be any more, and it's not going to be any less, but you get everything all in. Now, if you're in the US, they don't have the Genesis at home, but they do get, if you buy one of these electrified GV70s, you get a credit or for 30, is it 3 years?
3 years.
3 years.
30-minute complimentary charging.
Fast charging.
At Electrify Canada. Electrify America.
Electrify America. We are in Atlanta right now. Yeah. So you do get that. In Canada, we don't at this point because we don't really have a network that does go straight across the country yet. But yeah, the Genesis at home is a nice compromise or consolation for sure.
Brian, I have to be blunt. I don't like that answer that they're not going to do that because there isn't a nationwide charging system, because some of the competition does it. Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen, now they have a significant stake in Electrify Canada, but they offer that kind of feature. So I'm not sold on that excuse, but that's the one they're giving us, and I think it'll come eventually to some EVs, the complementary charging system, but we'll see.
So if you've watched my other videos on the GV70, that's even for the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder, you will know I am a huge fan of this vehicle. I've said this is basically one of my favorite compact SUVs out there. Being luxury, it's even better. It's so refined. You know, like all the materials, the interior is just meticulous. It's a really nice vehicle. Now going electrified, I think it's just really up the game, and no doubt in my mind, this would be the vehicle I would buy if I were to buy a member of the GV70 family. It'd be this electrified, because I don't think it's a huge penalty to pay. Because remember, EVs aren't for everybody. Okay, right. But for me, I own a house with a garage. I can charge every day, so EVs work for me. I got no problem driving or owning an EV. So
I agree with you. I think even the gas GV70 is among the best in its class, and the electric version, it doesn't change that. You know, it doesn't hinder the vehicle in any way, and it might appeal to people who want to make that jump to electrified vehicles.
Yeah, and the fact that if you want to compare this to a gas, because obviously you're going to do that if range isn't an issue, for instance, or or charging, is if you price out the GV70, the top trim in Canada is $77,500. This is $84,000, right? $6,500 extra for this experience. Everything else is pretty well the same.
Yeah.
You know, we have the head-up display. We have even the 3D instrument cluster here. You get it all for $6,500. I was expecting something a little bit more, actually.
Yeah.
And one thing we didn't talk about is where these are built. This electrified GV70 will be built in 2 places. For the first time ever, a Genesis is going to be built outside of Korea, right here in the US, in Montgomery, Alabama. And the beauty of that, for our Canadian market, our vehicles will still come from Korea. And you're like wondering why. That's a lot farther to go than, hey, this is the US, just, train them up. Their capacity will supply the entire US, which is going to relieve some of the supply issues coming out of Korea.
Yeah.
So that means more vehicles for us. So
should be available.
It should be. It should be. Let's cross our fingers.
I think it'll work. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe not, model year 1 for this, but for next year, I'm thinking you're probably going to see a lot more. Make sure you have to check out that grille to see if it really is an electrified version or not. I think this car is super, super slick. So anyways, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Also, hey, big hand for Sammy for joining us on this special review out here in Atlanta. Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you for having me. And it was so much fun.
We're having a lot of fun in Atlanta. See you in the next review. Cheers.
Bye.